The name of the project is really important as well, and it was something that took a while. Actually, a colleague of mine suggested Togetherinsound, and it has become something really important because it encapsulates the project. It's bringing people together, making music.
One does appreciate it.
Oh, should we try that again? Okay, ready? Hello. Well, welcome everybody.
Welcome.
Togetherinsound is a partnership project delivered by Saffron Hall Trust and Anglia Ruskin University. Part of Saffron Hall's role in the project is to coordinate and administrate the project, and that includes recruiting the participants from across our local area to ensure that those who will benefit from the project hear about it and have the opportunity to be involved. It also includes delivering the sessions with the help of our wonderful team of volunteers who are present at each and every session.
There's magic in music, isn't there? There's something which goes beyond the ordinary and bring out wonderful things. And I'm grateful to the people who produce this music. I salute them.
We knew about it a year before we came, but Michael hadn't actually been diagnosed as having Alzheimer's disease. And obviously when one talks with other people who are carers, we're all sort of got the same problems, similar problems, and it can be helpful. People do different things, and we just laugh almost at some of the things that go on.
Yes.
But I think the best thing is that it's something Michael remembers. He says, when's the next time? When are we next coming?
So we thought we'd start with a warm-up. Saffron Hall had done a pilot project with musicians from Whitmore Hall, and then had decided that actually they wanted some music therapists involved because they felt that might offer something a little bit different for the participants. Our groups are quite large, anything from sort of 5 couples up to 9 couples, and we wouldn't have any more than that, because one of the important things is that we can work closely together in a group. So the music therapists, so me and whoever I'm co-working with in the session, the music therapy trainees from Anglia Ruskin University, it enables us to really build some good, strong relationships with the people in the group. It doesn't matter. It's quite nice when you say hello to the person next to you.
Another part of our role as Saffron Hall is to connect the project with our family of musicians and artists who we have relationships with. This is a really unique and special part of the project, and we try to bring in different musicians into each block of sessions. We worked very closely with our resident orchestras. Both Britten Sinfonia and London Philharmonic Orchestra have taken part, and also with other musicians, including jazz and folk musicians. One of the really special things about the opportunity for musicians to be involved is they benefit from the training that the music therapist can provide in preparing musicians to work in a music therapy context. Increasingly, musicians' lives are not just about playing in orchestras or playing concerts. They are required to work in a huge variety of settings, and we can provide valuable experience and training and mentorship for musicians who are interested in that sort of work. One particular example is linking up with our resident orchestra, London Philharmonic Orchestra's Future First scheme, where the young artists that they are working with over the course of a year or two have the opportunity to experience working in this community setting.
I was brought to togetherinsound as a guest musician from the London Philharmonic Orchestra. And that was through their training scheme, Foil Future First, which I was doing that year. So my role in the sessions was essentially, I would come in, and for about 5 or 10 minutes each session, I would perform for the participants. I would also play with them in the improvisation jams that we had. They all had percussion instruments. They had loads of percussion instruments to choose from. And we all created music together.
We recognise that actually coming together and being able to do something through music which supports a healthy relationship and can give experiences where things, somebody said it in one of our groups, they said it's just not difficult. That actually coming here makes it easier to be with that person. And that can have a very positive impact on the relationship outside of the sessions as well.
I find it an uplifting experience every Friday. I really look forward to coming, not only for myself but for Brenda as well. Brenda can't read a book at home. She can no longer read because of her problem. But when she comes here and we get our song sheets, she can read the music as plain as anything. I see her eyes going along the page, and so it's marvellous. It's a lovely experience, and I really look forward to it every week.
It's very rewarding to come. I think generally very rewarding.
Yes.
Because you can't really think about anything else. Whilst you're here, and other problems are definitely erased for both of us actually.
Yes.
And even when one goes out slightly calmer. So there's a calmness.
Yeah, and it's nice. The thing is that it sort of works for both of you, really, because if you enjoy music, when you hear it at home, when you get a quiet period yourself, it gives you a lift as well. So music is a marvellous therapy.
Absolutely.
The thing is, I used to play the music a lot, but I forgot to do it for years. But I'm going to try and go back to it.
You see, bedtime can be quite an exhausting experience going to bed, but I have found that if we had music on before we go to bed, that makes the whole process easier. You see, if I watch television up until the time I go to bed, I have more problems. Whereas if I play music, it seems to be calmer. And so really what it's done here, it's enhanced their appreciation of music. We always like music, but this has seemed to enhance the program.
Yeah,
it's
and
quite
everybody's enjoying themselves. Everybody's happy.
Would you like, as a group, would you like to sing a song together, or would you like to move into playing some music together? What do you want to do?
Everybody, what do you think? What do you
Sing
know?
a song.
Yes.
Sing a song?
Yeah.
All right.
Sing a song.
So,
Oh, sing a song.
sing a song.
Apparently. Yeah, out there.
At lunchtime today, Brenda was very miserable. She'd had a strenuous morning in the Dementia cafe, and I suppose she'd got excited, and after lunch, which she didn't really enjoy, she was really not a happy bunny, and I very nearly didn't bring her. And the music here has completely and utterly changed her back to happiness.
Thank you very much.
I think that there's no doubt there is a special place in the brain for music. Which I think enhances our lives. I think it does. It's such an uplifting experience, and we like all sorts of music now, don't we? And especially since we've got our Amazon Alexa, because we just asked Alexa to play anything, and she'll play anything for us.
We haven't got one of those.
Yeah, we got an Alexa.
Yeah.
Music seems to
It's a
be
pleasure.
the best therapy for people. I mean, at home with the piano,
Yes.
as soon as things are tricky, I say, why don't you go play the piano? And I know where you are, and you're happy, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
And then I empty his bag of all the toothbrushes and soap and razors and plimsolls. But everything's in the wrong place, you see, except music. That's in the right place, isn't it?
Yes,
My name is Judith, and I'm a volunteer with Together in Sound. I think I've been working with the group this is like my third season, so I've seen a number of people come through the group and a number who've stayed with the group, and have got to know them well, which has been a great delight. I first got involved with the group because I'm a singer myself, but also I have experience from my parents-in-law of having dementia and working with them at that time, and I realised what a powerful thing music is. And so I was very keen to get involved with this group. And I think what's wonderful is to see people come in with their companions and see people enjoy being part of a group as they chat and have their coffee, but then going into the music. And I think it's about becoming more aware, more alert for some people who find it difficult to get involved in conversation and perhaps aren't even talking very much to their companions anymore. It's wonderful to see how interacting with the music, having instruments, how people who can seem quite closed in on themselves are able to literally be woken up and interacting with each other, smiling, enjoying the rhythms. And when the participants come out of the group at the end of a session, they are looking happy, they've clearly enjoyed themselves and they're interacting. And what's more, their companions, their mood is lightened, they've enjoyed being part of the group, and seeing their loved ones responding is so powerful. And so although we don't take part in the groups, for us seeing people at the beginning and the end and seeing the transformation that the music makes is a wonderful thing.
I think it is just the real kindness. I think kindness is sort of very happy. There's the atmosphere somehow. There's very happy
It's wonderful,
atmosphere, isn't it?
and
Nearly everyone smiles all the time.
yes, and if I do something silly and they smile, I'm not going to. There'll be no tears.
A sense of acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, there is. It's quite surprising actually how that sort of sense of accepting, which I think the carers find extremely difficult, really, to accept. Sort of bit by bit, you have to accept.
Yeah.
Most of the time, things are.
Yeah. Amazing.
Just have to be accepted.
Yes.
But it can be quite difficult for the carers just to keep patient. I'm not a patient person. You've told me I'm not patient, haven't you?
Well, I might have told you.
And Chloe and I were wondering whether we might just try now having a little improvisation around those words. So we had fear, uncertainty, turmoil, suspicion, confusion, and anger. And then the contrast to those: companionship, fun, uplifting, a smile and laughter, participation, conversation, experience sharing, understanding, peace, and relaxed.
Another aspect of the sessions was, as I say, these improvisation jams that we had. And these were very important, and these were the moments where I felt I connected the most to the participants. Because, as I say, I mean, we didn't have to speak. It wasn't anything too challenging. I mean, even if some of the participants didn't have a lot of movement to be able to play with, they had loads of different types of instruments that they could join in with. And even tapping, a very simple pattern. If, for example, they did that and I made eye contact with them and I copied that pattern to them on my trumpet, you could see that sort of lighting up, and in that moment you had a connection, and sometimes you pursue it and you try different patterns and have a bit of a back and forth, or that would be it and you'd move on to something else.
Well, Claire's the shining.
Sorry?
Claire is the shining light, I think, definitely. I'm not just saying that because you're here, Claire.
Well, yeah, it's that lady over there.
Marvellous. I know she's listening, but it's... no,
Absolutely.
she's great.
I spent too long in the sleep when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, she's fantastic.
No.
It's heavenly, I call it. I would feel that this... What's the lady who comes?
Claire.
Yes, Claire, yes. She's smiling throughout. Or something. If it's not a smile, it is close to a smile as you could. And I find that very moving. Because it's there's an understanding there, and
she's very patient, isn't she? She's so patient.
Oh yes.
She'll wait for people to say what they want to say.
I mean, it's so nice to see other people happy as well. I mean, it's very special because, I mean, the world has its problems, hasn't it? Troubles and all the rest of it. And in a way, if you can get away from that and bring out what you hear at the best kind people saying kind things, singing kind things. I mean, well, it almost makes me cry.
Together in Sound is generally marvellous for people because the people who run it know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you get that feeling that although it's organised, it's not a routine. They let you do your thing within the whole group, but it sort of benefits everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I count them every time they come in, and it's surprising. There's never many chairs empty when we have our group here, is there?
No, never a group.
It's really lovely.
My name's Bob Stewart, and my wife's name is Anne. In 2005, my Anne's sister decided that Anne's memory was not quite as good as it should be. And so when we returned from our holiday in France, we went to the doctor who put Anne to a memory clinic. And lo and behold, she was diagnosed with the beginnings of this dreadful disease called Alzheimer's. We read a lot, were told a lot, and it prepared us in some ways for what the future held. The one thing we didn't know, of course, was exactly how long it was going to be. We started looking, or at least I did, for things to do that would help Anne and cheer both of us up. And so for an hour and a half every week, on a Friday, we came together in sound, and it gave us peace, it gave us companionship, certainly fulfillment, and it brought back to Anne a lovely smile on her face. She had achieved.
You go in, you have a biscuit and a cup of tea, and you meet like people, both carers and those people having to live with dementia. In the next hour, there are things that happen through music and song to people living with dementia. A glint suddenly comes to their eyes, and it's a glint of understanding. A smile, because for a few moments they're actually living in a world where they remember, where memory brings them back into a world that brings them fun and joy. Participation with others. There's no fear, that's taken away. There's no embarrassment. It's wonderful. And for the carer, it is quite amazing, for me, certainly, to see Anne come out of the world where in an essence, I suppose, she was slowly but surely becoming brain dead. But for a short while, through the basis of music and song, she left that world and she came into the world of music and song.
That carried on all the way through the rest of Anne's life, because sadly she died in November from Alzheimer's disease. But I'll tell you a little story that is fact. She spent her last week of her life in Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge. She, towards the end of that week, was in essence becoming brain dead. She spent most of her time lying in bed on the flat of her back, fast asleep. My oldest son decided one day that he would record some bagpipe music because Anne was a Scot. He put his phone down beside her and started playing the bagpipes, the music anyway, to the bagpipes. And Anne suddenly started dancing in her bed, doing a reel, doing a jig. It was quite remarkable, because until that moment, Anne had, to all intents and purposes, been brain dead. But boy, that music was wonderful to see, and the light it brought to our family around her, it was wonderful. Music played a big part in Anne's life, particularly through Alzheimer's, and that last bit was only 48 hours before she died. It's a scene that I certainly will never forget and will long remember with great pleasure. Thanks, of course they're due, because it was Together in Sound that introduced us to the wonderful sound of music.
One of the other things that we've done in our sessions is we've done some songwriting with our groups. Songwriting, it's useful for all sorts of reasons. It allows people to create something that's new. It allows people to think about perhaps a theme and to put that into words. So in our morning group, we have got this song, which I think the title's going to be Togetherness. That may change, we don't know. But it emerged because very early on, I think it was even in the first session that we had of this block of 10 weeks, the group were talking about what Together in Sound meant to them. And somebody said, maybe we could write a song about it, about Together in Sound.
Together in Sound, what a wonderful thing. We meet each Monday to laugh and to sing. Everyone happy, full of good cheer, with a smile on their face from ear to ear.
Keith had brought along a small poem that he had written, and so we used that as a sort of beginning structure. And where are we now? Week 6. So over these 6 weeks, we have brought ideas from the song back to the group each week. Chloe and I have worked on the melodies that we've offered back to the group, and the group have then been able to give us some suggestions about how those sound with the words. What I thought we would do, I'll play it through so you can listen to it. Maybe Chloe and I can sing through the words first of all, and then we can have a go singing through together. Okay? And although we've written it out, this is the first time that we're sort of sharing it in this form. So there might be some more changes that we want to make, that you want to make. You might think, oh, I really don't like that bit, or that bit doesn't fit, or it doesn't work. So it's definitely a chance for us to think about what does work about the song and what doesn't. The group are very discerning. They always know, there will be a sense of, actually that word's not quite right, or that phrase doesn't work, and they will work together until it does feel right. And there was a really lovely moment in the session this morning, actually, where we had been trying to learn the song and sing it through. And one of the group members said, oh, that beginning bit's really quite tricky. And then somebody said, could we have it spoken? And that task was delegated to Keith. And there was a shift. So my experience was that as soon as he spoke the words and then we carried on into singing the song, it felt like the song was theirs again. And it's a bit like this. I guess some of the words in the song are about giving and receiving. It's a little bit like they'd given us the words, Chloe and I had gone away, done some work with them, and then we give them back to them. But that ownership is really, really important. It's their song. It's not my song or Chloe's song. And so that felt quite a special moment, actually, when it was like, yes, this is theirs.
Mum and Dad are Don and Jenny. They only live 6 miles up the road from me, but obviously right now it could be 6 miles or 600 miles. It really wouldn't make a difference in many ways. But this has been a lovely way, not just to connect with Mum and Dad, but with everyone else as well. Like John said, you know, this is a group of friends, and it's lovely just to see everyone, just to have a wave and a smile and a joke. You know, it's not the same, of course. It's not the same as meeting in person, but it's the next best thing. And I think it's amazing that Claire and Thomas and the Together in Sound organisers, that they were bold enough to give this a go, because it could have been disastrous.
It's a very friendly group, but what's worth acknowledging is that we came together because of music, because of Together in Sound. We didn't all know each other beforehand. But it is a very friendly group, and having it carry on like this, it gives you some structure to your week, because lockdown life is without structure if you're not careful.
Obviously, we're living in very challenging times for all of us, and personally, I don't think that when we come out the other side that society will be the same again. I don't think it ought to be the same again, because I think we've just shown how coming together makes life really that much more enjoyable when we all work together.
And we've had a group session or a sharing session at the end of each of our 10 weeks, group of 10 weeks, where we invite family and friends, and it's always been a really emotional, uplifting event.
Yes,
hosted by Saffron Hall, and they've done a fantastic job. People that I don't know, Caroline and John and Russell may do because they've been coming longer than Martin and myself. So it's lovely to meet lots of people and everyone's family, and we usually have some musicians, very good musicians, and a primary school join us. It's a lovely...
Yes, they can stop it off in primary, can't they?
The Together in Sound sharing takes place in Saffron Hall at the end of each block of sessions, and it's a really special moment to bring the project back into the heart of the community. It can be attended by friends and family and other stakeholders and people that are involved, and it really shows that Saffron Hall is a venue which is committed to serving all parts of the community, and it's not just a place that people come for classical music concerts. In the last couple of sharing events, we've invited local primary schools to come and collaborate with the Together in Sound participants, and as well as sharing the music, we also have moments to share food and to share conversation, and that's also very much part of what's at the heart of the Together in Sound ethos.
Something that might not be obvious, but that we've got from these sessions, is that it sparked, and I suppose this started in particular when we were meeting in person, but to some degree is certainly carrying on now, but it sparked conversations, even between me and my dad, who obviously I've known my entire life, and we've still had conversations triggered around musical events that we hadn't had before. In one of the sessions some months ago, Dad started singing a song that I had never heard him sing before at all, and it was from his childhood, and some other folk who were sat around us started joining in as well, and it just triggered a whole nother line of conversation, as I keep saying, that we'd never had before. The music is what's brought us together, but it's so much more than that. But the music in itself is just a lovely way of switching off from other things, and you know, there's just something special in singing and making music together and in a group.
One of my favourite memories from Together in Sound was actually during one of the online sessions during the lockdown, while we were singing a song together. Usually they'd have percussion instruments to use during the song, but because we weren't there and they didn't have access to them, they'd all found musical instruments in their house. For example, with a pot of gravy, granules to shake, or pots and pans to bang as percussion instruments. And I ended up laughing throughout the song. I didn't do much playing at all, because it was quite bizarre seeing a screen full of 15, 20 people who were completely alone in their own room, but they were fully going for it. They were dancing, they were banging, the pots and pans were shaking. You could see them singing full belt at the screen. It was sort of wonderful because everyone was doing that at the same time, and we were still creating music together and singing together, even though we were really, really far away from each other. So that is an image that really sticks in my mind. I thought that was a very beautiful human moment.
So this project brings together lots of different people. It brings together the partnership of Saffron Hall and Anglia Ruskin University. We have music therapy trainees coming on placement as part of the project. It brings together the person living with dementia and their carer or companion, and then also the wider community. There is something really important about that ripple effect. Dementia isn't going to go away. There's not a cure for dementia, but we can help people to live well with dementia. And that's something that I think Together in Sound does excellently. Not only for the couples themselves, but because it supports the wider community to have a better sense of what people living with dementia, and by that I mean not just the person with the diagnosis, but their whole family and friends around them. It gives the community a better sense of what they need.